I'd now like to run you through a round of tapping and how we set that up. The first thing we need to do is to identify a negative thought, feeling, emotion, belief, memory, etc. that we would like to tap on. And it's important that this is as specific as possible. The second step is to do a body scan to identify where that thought, belief, emotion, etc. comes up for us in our body. Because quite often when we have a negative feeling, we feel it at particular places in our body, which is different for everyone. So part of that process is to identify where is that in our body. The third step is to rate how strong the intensity of that feeling coming up in the body is in the present moment. So you give that a rating out of 10 before you start tapping. The next step is to say an acceptance statement. And an acceptance statement has to be something positive about yourself. So an example of this is, I completely accept myself and how I feel. Now, depending on how you're traveling at the moment, sometimes people don't feel comfortable to say, I completely accept myself and how I feel. So what you can do is modify the acceptance statement so that it sits comfortably with however you're feeling at that time. So it may be, even though I've got this problem, I'm okay and I'm dealing with it. Something like that. So I'm going to use an example to illustrate how this all fits together. So in my example, I've got an exam coming up on Friday. It's a maths exam. I'm really worried and anxious about it. So that's the feeling. I'm worried and anxious about my maths exam that's coming up on Friday. So you'll notice that's a really specific example. It's the maths test on Friday. I'm feeling worried and anxious. When I'm doing a body scan, for me that comes up in my stomach. So anxiety comes up for me in my stomach, and at the moment it's coming up as a ringing pain in my stomach, and it's 7 out of 10. So I'm going to show how to fit this all together. So reminder, we start with the karate chop point, which is on the pinky side of the hand, and you tap the side of the hand. And so you always start the setup statement with the words, even though. Even though I'm worried and anxious about my maths exam on Friday, I completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though I'm feeling worried and anxious and I've got a ringing pain in my stomach about my maths exam on Friday, I completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though I'm feeling worried and anxious about my maths exam on Friday and it's a 7 out of 10 in my stomach, I completely accept myself and how I feel. So you'll notice with that setup statement, which you have to repeat 3 times, I haven't used exactly the same words for each round of the setup statement, which is fine. There's no way you can usually remember exactly what you said. So it's fine just to ad-lib a bit and to, mix up what you're saying, maybe pull in different elements of what you're thinking or feeling at the time. The next phase in the tapping round is to go to our other tapping points. And now we start to say short reminder phrases to bring those thoughts, feelings, and emotions to the surface. My maths exam on Friday. I'm feeling worried and anxious. I've got this ringing pain in my stomach. It's a 7 out of 10. I'm finding it so hard to focus on anything else. I can't sleep at night. I'm feeling so worried and anxious. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. So you'll notice then I've done one complete round of tapping. Now what you might do is usually go through maybe 2 or 3 rounds, just depending on how you're feeling. And the next step is to take a sip of water, which we'll just pretend that I'm doing. And I like to get my clients to close their eyes, take a deep breath in, and then exhale, and then tune back into their bodies to see how they're feeling. And in particular, how they're feeling in the space that they identified they had the issue coming up. So for me, that was in my stomach. So I'm going to scan into my stomach. Oh, wow, what do you know? The intensity rating has now dropped for me to a 4 out of 10. So with one round of tapping, it's gone from a 7 out of 10 to a 4 out of 10. And so what you might choose to do from there is to continue to tap some further rounds and just repeat the same sort of thing. And then keep checking in with yourself, ideally until that intensity rating gets down to maybe a 1 or a 2, or in the best case scenario, a 0. So that's how we do a basic round of tapping.